Okay, we are here with KPH Sir Lancelot, and today I would like to talk about lunging and body language. So I am going to try and demonstrate some things, obviously the things that you should do when you're lunging, but I'm going to try and incorporate some do nots into the lunging as well, so you understand why if your horse won't, if it won't lunge at all, or if you're having problems with lunging, one of the reasons why that could be. If you have any questions, you can drop a comment, or if you go onto our website, coolerlunge.com, my email's on there. If you want to discuss something, you can give me a call. I'm fairly friendly. So, as I said, this is Lance. So, we're going to pretend that I've just hooked up all this gear. I'm not going to video that. So, when I want Lance to start off on the lunge, I'm going to ask him to step away from me. To do that, I'm going to go back to his shoulder, and then I'm going to move him forward around me. Walk on. Walk on. And see how I point my finger in the direction that he wants to go? I'm pretty confident he doesn't give a crap about my finger pointing. I have just broken my whip. It is missing the tassel. It's fine. It'll work without. I'll stop waving it, but it'll work without the tassel. So you can see here, Lance moved away from me. I didn't step back from Lance to get him to start walking around me on the lunge. He moved away from me. So that's step number one. The horse needs to step away from you, not you stepping back from the horse. The horse also needs to wait for you to command it to trot, but hey, woo, good. No, off you go. Walk on. That's my fault for not paying him enough attention. Walk on. Walk. So again, I'll just move him out around me. If I need to, I can put the whip in front of me and point it at the shoulder to get him to go out on the circle. My tasselless whip that literally fell apart. Oh, I can see the tassel there on the sand. So if he's coming in and I don't want him to come in, I can point the whip at the shoulder, as I said, and then I move my arm out away to the side and forward to get him to go out on the circle. Again, this only works if they're following your body language, which is why you can incorporate the whip. There, he was about to duck and come in again, which is why I urged him on with the whip. So I actually asked for that because he was looking to come in and put me in front of his shoulder so he could duck in behind the shoulder, which is why I sent him forward into trot. Even though I didn't use a voice command, he understood my body language. So when you're lunging, you're essentially forming, Lance, that's going a bit close to the phone, a triangle. So Lance being the wide side of the triangle, wide end of the triangle, I am the narrow end of the triangle. Lunge line goes out on one side, lunge whip on the other side. That's your triangle. I am then in line with the shoulder. So if I get ahead of the shoulder, he's not going to let me demonstrate it. If I keep getting ahead of the shoulder, I can see he's about to, yeah, good boy. See, I got ahead of the shoulder, so he stopped and come into me. So when you have trouble lunging and getting the horse to go around you, could be because you're ahead of the shoulder. You need to stay in line with or just behind the shoulder. Thank you, good boy. He's like, you asked me to stop. Walk on. Again, I asked him to go out around me. I'm giving him little touches with the whip because he just doesn't care. And again, if I cannot touch my horse on the tail with the whip, there's a problem. There's a really big problem if he's going to have a meltdown because I'm literally touching his tail with the whip. Okay, so I'm going to urge him back out again. From there, you want to keep an even circle. So if I'm going out here on this side and then I stay here, then Lance can be ducking in on the circle and his circle is not even around me. He's a little bit better trained than that to come in. But so imagine he's pulling me this way and then he cuts in here. Keep going, keep going. It's hard to demonstrate. Come on, trot. Then that circle's not even. So to keep your even circle, Try and plant one foot on the ground and just pivot. Or walk a very small circle, which is what I prefer to do. Staying in line or just behind the shoulder. Come on. I know the flies are annoying. You'll be fine. Canter. Canter. Get up. Getting them to follow not only your body language but your voice commands makes lunging heaps easier. So now I want to allow plants to trot. So I'm actually going to turn to face his hindquarters a little bit. Ah, good. It's always good when it works too, just saying. Now I'm going to face him again. So then if I want to urge him on a little bit, I'm actually going to turn my shoulders a little bit more this way. I can open my rein a little bit. And again, so normally I would back that up with a voice command, but he's pretty much, he knows what he's doing. So then I'm going to ask him to come back to trot. So I'm going to face back this way again. Thank you. Now he's going to turn around or he's going to stop. So if Lance was to get too quick on the circle, then I would spiral the circle in. If he wouldn't come back on my command, which clearly he's going to, I would just slowly spiral him in on the circle till he decided to come back. He's not making a very good demonstration of that because he's more than willing to come back. Now I'm going to point the whip at his shoulder, send him out. When you're holding your lunge line, hold your lunge line like you're holding the reins. So pinky around the bottom of the lunge line, up through the palm, and between your forefinger and your thumb. So you cannot pull the lunge line out of your hand. Trot in. Again, I want him to go a little bigger and bring my arm out and forward. And give it a little tug if I need to. Trot on. Lucky you read the textbook. And move. So I'm going to vibrate my fingers like I'm squeezing out the bag of marbles. And woo. Point my shoulders a little bit more to his quarters. So I still want him to trot. I just want him to trot slower. And woo. Now I want him to walk. I'm just going to face the quarters again. There we go. Not quick enough to turn. Always be careful that the lunge line's not hitting the ground between you and your horse, as I just demonstrated what not to do. I think that's my main lunge tips. The horse always moves away from you. Walk on. Not you away. Not you away from the horse. So, come on, walk on. One more thing. Trot. So if I'm having trouble getting Lance to move away from me, and I'm stepping back to keep the lunge line taut, you can see how my circle's not going to be even. Lance is just doing his own thing, staying out on the circle for me. So he does make it a little bit more difficult to demonstrate what not to do. You can see I'm always pushing, and he knows to go out around me. I'm doing very little here. You don't want to finish your lunging session chasing the horse, like, or utilize your lunging session. And you're going to try and demonstrate this, like, by chasing him up, like, chasing him and pushing him. You can see how this could end in potential disaster, and you'll be exhausted at the end of it. And you're doing more than the horse is. Good boy, thank you. All right, back to walk. I like my horses to walk, so if he's going to come back in like that, I am just going to keep moving behind the shoulder and move around him and push him up. So ideally, if you've trained your horse correctly, Lance, now you're embarrassing me. Out. Come on. You should be able to move them around the arena, keeping them out. So keeping yourself in line with the shoulder. Keeping your shoulders square onto their shoulders. Use your whip if you need to. Point it at the shoulder. And then you can get off the circle. That's better. This is the way that you can start to move your horse around the arena. We can do this in trot. I'm not doing it in trot. I'm not capable of running yet. When I get a bit healthier again, that's better. So again, thinking about your body language, I'm wanting him to go forwards and straight. So I'm still facing my upper body to him, trying to keep my shoulders a little bit more facing to the left because that's the direction we're going. Now I want to stop, so I'll stop moving. And you see how I changed my body language? I stopped moving, I stopped facing that little bit forward, turned my shoulders slightly, and Lance is like, yes. So, boy, that's it for my lunging tips today. If I've missed something out that you're curious about, please drop me a comment, private message, email. I do read them, and I can answer it, or I can answer with a demonstration video. I'll be doing a lot more lunging. I have other horses to bring back into work as well as client horses. Things are slowly kicking off again. So that's it. If you'd like to know more about the Cooler Lunge, again, you can get onto our website, coolerlunge.com, or private message, etc. Thank you for watching. Good boy.